everyone! In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make Deku from My Hero Academia using my Chibi Base Pattern, which is available for purchase in my Etsy shop, and I'll put that link in the description below for you. Alright, so let's get started. What you're going to need to make Deku is some skin tone yarn, some light green, a little bit of white, some red, and then a Kelly green and a dark green for the hair. You'll also need a wire brush to brush out the hair and make it look so nice and fluffy. The fabric markers I use to make Deku's freckles. And then you'll also need a little bit of red, white, and black felt for all of these little details on his hero costume. Alright, so with that, let's just jump right into it. So for the head, there's going to be no changes from the Chibi Base Pattern. You'll just do that according to the pattern as written. For the arms, you'll do rounds 1 to 2 in white, and then rounds 3 to 4 in this light green color. Of course, you'll make 2 of those. And then for his body, you'll do the first 2 rounds in red, and then the rest of the pattern using this light green color. So after you have all of these pieces made, you'll go ahead and assemble them. Okay, so once you have all of the pieces assembled, the next step is to cut all the details out using felt. So you're going to need a strip of red for the belt, a small rectangle of black for the middle of the belt, these 2 black shapes that go on the side, and then 4 white squares that'll go on the front and the back of his costume. And then you'll also need some wider strips of red felt to create his little pouches on the side. So then once you have all of those ready, you'll just go ahead and attach them to the body using some hot glue. And then I'll show you how to do these little pockets. So you'll just take a piece and you'll kind of just add some hot glue and then fold it up, being very careful not to burn yourself. So then you'll just fold it over and then leave this small top so you can fold it over to create a pouch. So we'll do a tiny strip of hot glue here. Fold that over very carefully. Hold it for a minute so it can set. And then there you go, you've got a little pocket. So then just do the same thing for the other side, and we'll continue once I have all of these attached. Okay, so now we're back again. All the pieces have been assembled. So then the next thing to do is to give him his little freckles using fabric markers. I usually use a dark green and a black. You can probably just use whatever you have on hand. Maybe even some acrylic paint could work, or a pen or something. But I usually just take the dark green first and then give him his typical 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yep, that placement looks pretty good. And I want to be careful with this just because there's not really any going back after this. Alright, so we have that. And then just to make them a little more noticeable, I just usually add a dot of black on top of this green. 3, 4. Alright, so he's almost done. The last step is to do his hair. So for his hair, you're going to need some of the Kelly green and a darker green. And this is the part that definitely takes the longest, but what you're going to do is take little strips of each color, and with this, attach it to his head all the way around, and then you fill it in. And after doing that, you're going to brush it out with the wire brush to make it fluffy. So usually start with dark green along the front edge and the sides, and then after that I use regular green, this Kelly green, and add some patches of the dark throughout, just randomly. So take this, I'll just show you a few and then I'll do the rest off screen because like I said, this does take quite a while to do. So I usually start 1, 2, 3 rows up from the eyes. That means I got 1, 2, 3. So then this is just where I'll start. So then you bring it through. And you don't want to make these too long because it will be harder to brush out in the end. So he's gonna look really funny for quite a while, but trust me, just keep going with it and you'll eventually get to the point where he starts looking like himself. Alright, so then as you can see, you'll just keep going around this row. You'll go down a little bit to the side and then just around and fill it all in. So I'll do some of this off screen and then show you a few of the steps along the way. And then after the hair, he's gonna be finished. And just to show you a bit of an update, I've added the start of the outline in this dark green. And again, he's gonna look really silly for a while, but so what I did was I just went around the edge and then kind of went diagonally until I got to the row that the eyes are on. So I'm not gonna add any hair any lower than this. So now that I've gotten to this point, I'll go around in this color and then go all the way around. And since we did work in the round, you can see that this row doesn't match up with this one. So somewhere in the back, we're just gonna kind of add one diagonally so then it does line up and it looks mostly even. And plus you can see like the fluffiness will kind of help to cover that. And I'll show you again when I get to that point, but I'll check in once I keep going. All right, so I've added a little more now around the edges, and this is where you can see what I mean, that these sides aren't gonna really match up. So when you get close enough in the back, you'll just insert your hook kind of diagonally and then attach a yarn thread loop thing. I don't know what to call these, but you attach one until it's like this, and then you would just keep filling in here so that they do meet up. So I'll show you this a little bit right now. Alright, so now we have this super funky looking guy right here, but the outline's filled in. So now what you're gonna do is fill in basically all of these stitches with little pieces of yarn. The next thing to do though is to add in just random spots of the dark green, and then the rest will be filled in with this Kelly green. So as you can see, there's just little spots of dark green. So I'll show you what that looks like when I finish attaching them. Here's the progress now. So I added a bunch of random spots of this dark green. So next thing to do is to fill in all these blank stitches with the Kelly green. And again, this process is gonna take quite a while, but you know, it's a labor of love for this adorable cinnamon roll hero. So he will be worth it in the end. So I'll just keep on going and see you when I have this all filled in. Once you have the whole head filled in with the yarn, the last and final step before you're done is to brush it all out using a wire brush. So this is the part where you got to get ready for a bit of an arm workout, because you're literally just going to be brushing the hair until it gets super fluffy. So I'll try to show you this. So as you can see, the more you brush, the strands of the yarn come undone, and then the fluffier it gets. So then after you have everything brushed out, you will just have to trim it, but you're just gonna have to keep going until it's all fluffed up. So, all right, so that's this first part done, and you can see how much fluffier and softer it got just from doing that little bit. So you're gonna go around and do the same thing to all of this that you attached. And yeah, so it's just gonna take a while, and it might seem like you're being rough, but since you sewed everything on, nothing's gonna happen to the head. So you'll just have to hold it and continue brushing and brushing and, you know, get a little bit of an arm workout in for the day. Alright, here's a little bit of a check-in on the progress. So you just got to keep working through it, and as you brush, you'll see that the yarn creates this, I don't know, yarn fluff, and you can either toss this or use it to use as stuffing, or you can save it and use it for needle felting as well. So it's up to you what you want to do with all the fluff that doing this generates, but once you start, you just got to keep going until all of the yarn is brushed out. Alright, so once you have everything brushed out, he's got a crazy floof head full of hair. So the last step, finally, is to trim it. So you're just gonna cut it shorter, being very careful because, you know, once you cut it, there's no going back. So you just kind of cut up the sides in that kind of motion. And you just cut it until it looks good pretty much. Doesn't have to be perfect or exact, but obviously he doesn't need all of this height to his hair. So just keep cutting. All right, getting closer. Okay, almost there. And you could kind of just mess around with it until it looks how you want it to look. So yeah, so any sections that are still too long, you just trim them right up. So I usually try to make the backs and the sides somewhat short, and then just fluff them up a little with your hands after trimming the overall length. And I guess technically you could have stopped at the point where you just attached everything before brushing it and then trimmed it then, and left it kind of like Bakugo's hair. Alrighty, and with that, your little Deku is complete. I hope you enjoyed watching this tutorial. If you'd like to see more, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!